Welcome to the Killer Innovation Show, the longest continuously produced podcast in history. Each week, Phil McKinney brings you the insights and strategies to amplify your creativity and innovation skills. Here's your host, Phil McKinney.
Welcome to this week's Killer Innovations podcast. I'm your host, Phil McKinney. We are actually in the studio, albeit I'm not showing you the studios as it is still under construction and will be for yet a couple of more months. But you can see behind me, if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, the anechoic fabric and sound dampening that's built into the walls in the studio, along with the sound traps for tuning. In the future, I will do a full studio tour and explain to you how the studio is designed and built. The studio was originally built about 8 years ago, and I'm doing some big, significant upgrades, new flooring, entirely new sound desks, new lighting, etc. So stay tuned. The upgrades will be great once they're all done, and I'll give everybody a complete tour of the studio at that time. Today's show is answering a listener question. Recently, I put a video up raising the question around innovation consultants and what does it really mean to be an innovation consultant. And my position is you need to have authentic experience. It's generated some interesting conversations on social media. I've received some direct emails. One of the questions I've got from one of you, one of the listeners of the show, was around a comment that I made towards the end of that video around getting experience. And one of the ways to get experience is through an innovation internship. And the question is how do you get an innovation internship? What is an internship? How's it structured? How do you get one? What's involved? And why is that a good thing? Why is that a good thing from the standpoint of experience? Now, as I describe this, I'm going to talk about internships and apprenticeships. And most times I'll use those interchangeably. But when I use the word internship, a lot of people think of the summer internships. You know, somebody in college trying to get some work experience so that they will take a project specifically around, an industry or a company that's aligned with their degree, and they work for the 2 to 3 months during the summer. I'm not talking about that, albeit that is great, and you should do that if you're doing an undergrad, whether you work on your master's, PhD, postdocs. Getting real-world experience is key. When I'm talking about innovation internships, it takes much longer than what you can do in a 2 to 3 month summer. This is extended internships, things that take much, much longer to go from an idea and be part of a team or actually even lead a team all the way through end to end on taking innovation and making it real. Innovation is ideas made real. That's the definition. So, in some cases, it may actually be more of what some people refer to as an apprenticeship. Now, I really only have experience with one person who reached out and contacted me about being an apprentice to me. Now, I was a little taken back when this request came in, but the person was serious. They wanted to work alongside me for an extended period of time. In this case, they committed to 2 years for 3 to 5 days a week, every week for 2 years to work alongside, to be part of my team, be in every meeting I was in, see how I operate, and go from beginning to end. Now, what person can make that kind of commitment? How did they, get paid? And in the case of this apprenticeship, we did not pay them. They came in with no financial commitment, no financial obligation. How'd that work? Well, turns out that this particular individual actually worked for one of the government agencies, in this case, NASA. NASA has a program where they encourage their senior executives to go out into industry and get industry experience and bring that back. This particular person was a listener to the podcast, had seen me do some public speaking, and reached out and asked if I would be willing to let him become part of my team, reporting to me, and spend 2 years as an actual contributing member, both working on ideas, helping to select new projects, make funding decisions, build teams to take an idea and move them forward. And having no experience in this, it was a little bit of a first time out of the gate. And I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll give this a try. We'll see how this works. Having never done it before, I had no concept of what this was going to turn into being. And I can tell you, it was fantastic. It worked out phenomenally well. This person came, and it was 3 to 5 days a week. Really got themselves integrated. Actually, put him in the cube right next to me so he could hear every conversation, see everything going on. Developed his own ideas, participated on other teams' ideas. Experienced the whole commercialization process, and took the process back. That person is still at NASA today. This has got to be a dozen years ago now that this apprenticeship experience happened. And to be quite honest, I was quite impressed that the government had this kind of program. And I don't know if it's in other parts of the government, but this is a program specifically in NASA to encourage their top executives to go out and get real world industry experience. Now, not everybody can do that. You can't, it's hard to say you would commit 2 years. So is that the minimum requirement for me to then say, hey, you've got enough experience, you can become an innovation consultant? No, I'm saying it's not 2 months in the summertime. And I'm not saying not everybody can do 2 years in an apprenticeship or an internship, but you need to go out and get that real world experience. You need to find somebody that you admire, somebody who has that experience, who can bestow upon you their shared experience and expose you to taking an idea. Maybe it's not an idea end to end. Maybe it's an idea they're already working on, and you help with that commercialization. Or you participate in enough brainstorming sessions up front to understand deeply how that operates. But I do think it's important that you be part of all the different parts, not just read about it, but you've done the upfront work. Do you really deeply understand a problem that you're passionate about? Do you develop the ideas and brainstorm those? Do you rank and select those ideas? Do you then execute those ideas? Can you cover all 4 of those phases? And can you say that you've done it and that you've successfully delivered an idea and made it real and turned it into an innovation? Now, maybe it's an internship that you do spread out over time. In my case today, my day job, we bring in, dozen and a half, 2 dozen, up to 2 dozen interns every summer. And it's typically kind of that 3-month window. Now, what I will say, what we do pretty well at is interns that come in and do a really great job their first year, we invite them back. We've had some interns that have been there for 4 summers in a row, and in many cases, during the holiday breaks, they come back. And some of those, in their first year, they started to work on an idea. The second year they came back, they moved that idea forward. Third year, maybe they used it as an undergrad research project with one of their professors, and they progressed it back in college. Fourth year, they came back and delivered. And to be quite honest, most of those that have done that successfully, we've hired. Those are the kind of people you want and part of your team. So there's lots of different ways to structure an internship or an apprenticeship. Check if your employer is willing and open to supporting an apprenticeship for you to go out and get that real world experience and then bring it back and bring those capabilities back to your organization. Or figure out a way to slice it up. If you have other financial means to be able to bring income in and you want to do an apprenticeship part-time and come underneath somebody who you respect and who's done well in the innovation game, then spread it out over time and try that and see if that works for you. So there are lots of different ways in order to get that experience, whether it's internship, apprenticeship, or just the hard work of understanding a problem that you're passionate about, ideating, brainstorming, coming up with those ideas, selecting them, ranking them, what's the best idea to solve that problem, and then execute. Turn it real. Once you've taken 2, 3 ideas across all 4 of those phases, then you've got that experience. You've got that hard knocks of how hard it really is. Not just the book knowledge, but you've got the real experience. And that is key. If you want to be an innovation consultant, a coach, an innovation mentor, however you want to classify what you want to offer into the marketplace, whether it's internal to your organization or hang a shingle out and become a consultant, get that experience. That is my encouragement to you. You can do it. You can find people who will support you and give you opportunities to learn that experience. And then once you've learned it, go out there, hang that shingle, be that evangelist, and help us spread the word. So with that, I'm going to wrap up today's show. This is just a quick one. But again, thank you for sending that question in. If you got your own question, drop it in the email or drop it on social media. You can send it to me on Twitter. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. And you never know, your question might be the next one I answer here on the channel. With that, spread the word, help us attract more people, be part of the community, and therefore we can all support each other. And thank you for your time. Your time is valuable, and I appreciate the time you've taken to be with us here today. And again, I apologize. We're just kind of cranking this out pretty quickly in a corner of the studio, but we're in between dashing and between meetings and other things going on. But hopefully you found today's episode beneficial. And again, we'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.
Podcasting nonstop since 2005, this has been the Killer Innovation Show on the Innovators Network.